Hey guys, hope you had a great weekend. Looking at the factoring things, I'll make sure I give all those back to you, but so far so good. So what we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week is we are going to do square root property. You'll have an assignment due Wednesday at midnight over square property, and then Thursday and Friday we'll talk about quadratic formula. So this is another way to solve a quadratic. Factoring doesn't always work because not everything's factorable, and square root property doesn't always work. So these are two ways that are effective if they work, but if they don't work, we'll talk about quadratic formula, which always works 100% of the time. So let's talk about square root property. We're in the very basics today, and every day we're going to add another layer to it. The worksheet that you have due on Wednesday has a bunch of different types of problems on it. So square root property, again, another way to solve a quadratic. Our answer to the square root property is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So our x-intercepts, just like with factoring. So let's say I have x squared equals 36. That's my original problem there. And I want to get rid of the square. So I want to get x completely by itself. Well, the opposite of squaring something is square rooting. But we know what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So if I square root this, I also have to square root that side. I have to stay consistent because I can't change the problem. Then a square and square root cancel. Just like adding 3 and subtracting 3 cancel out, or multiplying by 3 and dividing by 3. Same thing here, they just undo each other. Okay, they're inverse operations. So when I do that, I'm left with x equals 6, because the square root of 36 is 6. However, I have to remember in square property, I actually have two answers. It's plus or minus 6. That's a common error that I'm going to see is people are going to forget the plus or minus sign. So you can write it as plus or minus 6. Mathematically, that's a great answer. That's how we'll see it. Or if that confuses you, you can write it as x equals plus 6, x equals negative 6. I'll take either answer. This is just a shorter way to write it, but those mean the exact same thing. Okay, very basic, getting through something by itself. Now what happens when we have a bunch of things attached to that x squared? So I have 3x squared plus 4 equals 16. Well, what I have to do here is backwards PEMDAS. So I want to solve the equation. I want to isolate my variable and my exponent. So backwards PEMDAS, subtractions first, then addition. I have addition here. The opposite of adding 4, subtracting 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from either side. These here cancel. And I end up with 3x squared equals 12. Okay. Then again, PEMDAS, subtraction, addition, right? Multiplication and division. So again, this is multiplied by 3, so I'm going to divide this side by 3. But what I do to one side, I have to do the other, keeping it balanced, just like I did up here. So 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. And then I'm left with x squared equals 4. How do I get rid of that square side? Well, just like I did in example 1, I'm going to square root both sides. So I square root, those cancel, I square root, and the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. So that would be my final answer. You might be saying, what if I end up with a number like 12 and the square root of 12 isn't a perfect square? That's okay, we'll talk about that. And then we'll layer on in a couple units about simplifying under the radical as well. Okay, let's do one more problem just to make sure we're good. So we're gonna do a problem like this. I know we got this under control, but what happens when we have to do stuff with the equation before we actually just take the square root of it? So let's say I have this. I have negative 2x squared minus 1 equals negative 19. So a bunch of negatives coming in here. Don't forget about them. Don't just drop them radically. Make sure they're there. So the opposite of subtracting 1 is going to add 1. So I'm going to add 1 to either side. So I end up with negative 2x squared equals negative 18. Okay? So negative 2x squared equals negative 18. Then from there, I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 2. 2 negatives become positive, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I'm left with 1x squared, but I just want to write x squared there. Okay? And then a negative divided by a negative is a positive, which makes my life easier. If I can't take the square root of a negative number, it gives me imaginary. We'll get there later. Negative 18 divided by negative 2 is a positive 9. Okay? Then to undo the square, I'm going to square root this side. What I do to the other side, I have to also do. Those cancel. And I'm left with x equals plus or minus 3. And that's my answer. Okay. feel free to watch a video and then also meet me on Zoom. See you guys 9:30 to 9:50 every weekday. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great rest of the day and hope to see you on Zoom.